D-boy, what are you doing? Well, I am changing my starter. Why will you change your starter? Well, because sometimes I like to change my starter and change the heals around. So yeah, starters and heals change every time. Alright guys, big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta and today we're here with D-boy. We are doing a deck profile for you guys of the Unrivaled Bruce. Unrivaled Bruce. Alright, so D-boy, what's up? What's going on here? Well, you asked me if I would like to make a deck profile for you guys. That is with the new rules. The new rules of the Vanguard Overdress is that you can play a 50 card main deck plus 4 cards for your right deck, which means that you have 4 more cards that you can add to the deck, which means that you will get less triggers and the deck will be less consistent. But you could also make it more consistent by adding cards that make the deck consistent. Well, pretty much up to you. You could make it the way that you want to, but the rule is that we can play more cards. And because of that, I'm doing the profile for you guys, as you have asked. So the Unrivaled Bruce. Alright, a big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta and you are here with D-boy. Alright, so the right deck for Bruce. We have, of course, Diabolos, Violence, Bruce. We have Richard, Anger, Richard. We have Bad Steve, and we have Tida. Where's Matt? Matt's gone. Matt is on vacation. Matt doesn't want to play today. So yeah, this is the right deck. It doesn't change, it stays the same, and there is no reason to do anything with it. Now we go to the Great Force. The Great Force, we play 4 copies of the Unrivaled Beautiful Bruce. When this card was introduced, I thought I would play 4 of this and 2 Bruces, but I then read the card. For once, I had something that I didn't notice the first time, which doesn't happen to me that much. But when I put this card into the deck, and I was planning to put in 4 copies of it, it required a Counterblast. Because it requires a Counterblast, it actually makes it a little bit difficult to play, because I don't want to play the Counterblast. So, usually, I tested 4 copies of this and 2 Bruces, but now I did the other way around. 4 Bruces and 2 of this. It doesn't really make that big of a difference, but it's important to play 6 Bruces. 6 Bruces is the way to go in my opinion. 7 was way too much and 5 didn't really make a difference, was almost the same as 4. So 6 was perfect. 6 Bruces, 4 Bruces being the Unrivaled Bruce and 2 Slicers. For the Grade 3s. We have lots of different Grade 3s that you want to play. You play the beautiful 4 copies of Mayuri. We add 4 copies of Brian. We add 2 Diabolus Diver Julian and 2 of the New Dragon. Well, this is basically the best lineup that you could play, in my opinion. But I'm starting to liking this card more and more and more. So there is a chance that I will play even more copies of this and maybe cut some Julians out. I don't know, I'm still thinking and debating about it, but I keep liking this card more and more. Having him in the early game is just an easy free draw. Having him in the late game is good as well because he is still shield, and you could actually call him to the field to make up soul, which is kind of the same as what Julian does. So there is actually no bad moment to have this card. So maybe in the future you will see the same deck, but just with 4 copies of this. You could also see that, or 3, depend on what I want to do. The 4 Mariris is necessary, the 4 Bryans is necessary, especially for my playstyle, because I'm very aggressive with the deck, and sometimes I just want to discard it if I don't have anything else in my hand to discard. The Julian is good and bad, but it does give the deck kind of a balance because he acts as something between a Derek and a Mayuri, which is kind of perfect. But the thing is, I don't have this card yet. when I will get this guy, damn, when I get this girl, if I get her, then I think that she will be in here and he will be out. But we'll wait and see, because I did test with her. She's really good because she is just a copy of Omari, actually, just as easy as that. And she works perfect for the deck. But the thing is, I haven't found the foil one yet, and if it's not foil, it will not go into the deck. So yeah, I will just wait. So this is it for the grade 3s. Again, you could just modify it the way that you wanted to. The grade 2s still play the same, which is just the 4 copies of the Derek. If I will add this to the deck will be a little bit different. But will Derek go out? I don't think so. I think he's too good of a card. The field control that he gives you is good. The ability to be calling from the top deck is good, but soul charging at the same time is good. I think it's just perfect to have a card like that is very flexible. For the grade 1s, of course, we play PGs, as it's necessary to not die. We play only 1 cat. I'm thinking of adding another one, so playing 2. But throughout my testing, I kind of didn't really feel a big difference between playing 1 or 2, which is kind of strange because while playing 2, you should see it way more. And I kind of saw it in the early game where I didn't have anything to do with it. And by having Dragon, you want to discard Dragon instead of this. So it was kind of strange to have this in hand. But 1 feels perfect because you could keep it for later. You could guard with it, call it, and activate the skill, and you'll be good to go. Then, as I said, 2 slicers is perfect. The card is really, really good. It does help with the consistency of the deck, and it's beautiful art, and it's a nice addition to the deck. Do we want to play more? I don't think so. I feel like the 2 is perfect to add to the already 4 copies of Bruce. I still play 2 dopers, as it kind of gives you more soul, but also at the same time, the 10k that it gives is very effective in this deck. It's a card that I normally, when I take out, I feel like I'm missing it in the deck, so I kind of put it back in. And again, I think with adding the servant, the maid, the deck could look different, but for now, this is the deck without the maid. So again, we will maybe have a deck profile in the future where you have that card in as well. For the triggers, we will do the triggers first, then we will go into the orders. I still play the original Dark State OT, as in the art as well. I like this one the most in this deck, and it just feels right to play this in Bruce. Then I play 3 fronts. I normally play 4, but I kind of feel like 3 is the way to go. For the crits, I do play this boy because him going into the soul actually does make a difference. And then I play for Bazooka Maisha. You could actually take this out to add more of the signed crits, as I kind of now have those as well. So you could play these if you want to. I have these and the bear. But it's pretty much up to you. This is the one that I like the most, actually, because the signed is very beautiful on this card. But for me, of course, I will always play this, as this is made for this deck, and I kind of am in between keeping the skill crit in the deck or taking it out. Why would I take it out? Because most of the time the crits actually boost a Mariori, and by boosting a Mariori, it does make a big difference if it's a 4k or a 5k. But the good thing about this is that sometimes it's just that extra soul that you need, and it kind of does make a big difference. And then it's up to you to guard with this or guard with that and keep the right one in your hand to boost with or to use it for the skill. Pretty much up to you. For the heals, I still play the vanilla heals, as I kind of like them the most, because it's just a 15k shield in the early game, which actually is pretty good against lots and lots of decks. But I feel like with the game progressing, the meta is looking different, and people are putting sometimes a booster in the early game, and some decks just could rush and then get the cards back anyway. So I feel like taking these out to play the right crits in the right format will, of course, make a big difference. Um, I think you know which heals I mean. If not, I show it to you. I have my binder here. Why not? So we have, of course, three different heals with skills. We have the one that's gain more shield if your opponent is a higher grade than you, which is something that you could play in this deck, but I would not do that. The one that you will play the most is this one, as it's the one that when your opponent gains extra crits, not by triggers, then it becomes a 25k shield, or you play the restander. Pretty much up to you. You can play whatever you like. You could play 2-1-2. You could play 2-1-1. You could play 1-1-1. You could play whatever you like. For me, I think I could change it depending on the format when I play a big serious tournament. But for now, the 15k feels actually the best and feels just right. And of course, you also have this one as in a beautiful art. You could play this as well if you want to. I play this most of the time in tournaments because it doesn't have any shield value, which is kind of fun. Because your opponent would be like, what the hell? And that's just nice and fun to just mess with your opponent a little bit. All right. The orders. So the trigger lineup will not change in this deck. I feel like this is the best. The orders, of course, we play 4 Hell Dive, as I like to call it. It is Hell Blast Full Dive. And we play one of these. This is perfect for this deck as it could get you your Bruce. So you kind of play 7 Bruces now. You mostly play it on the first turn you go to grade 3. But it could also call you the right grade 3s to the field, as in your Marjories, for an example, and your Bryans. So you could do just 2 at Brian and Marjorie with this, and you'll be just set to go for their big turn, which is kind of crazy. Normally, I just use it most of the time to get the Bruce to the hand, but later on I was like, now with Slicer in the deck, I could just leave this and then use it for the skill to get the right field. And the thing is, if you're playing as a deck that your field will survive for the next turn, the disc is just perfect because it is the perfect setup for the next turn. And that's actually it for the deck. So the deck is pretty simple. The cards that you could take out to put different cards in here, especially if you want to play the 4 copies of the Maid. The 4 cards that you will take out, in my opinion, will not be this. It will not be a trigger, of course. It will not be this. So the changes will come in the grade 1, grade 2, and a grade 3 slide. These will always be in here. These will always be in here. And these will always be in here, at least 2. And then you have, this is one of the cards that you could take out. So I put it like this. So you could take this out if you want to. The 1 copy or the 2 copies. You could actually take Derek out if you want to, but I would not do that. For my playstyle, he's just important. But I could see myself taking some of him to add this. That could happen because this is one of the cards that will not let you deck out. For the grade 1s, this will stay, of course. She will stay, of course, at least 1. This will stay, and Doper could go out, as I said while explaining the deck. So the cards that you could take out and the cards that you could put in. You could put more copies of this in the deck. And the cards that you could take out for that are any of these. So let's say, for an example, you could also say, I will take 2 of this out to put more dragons in here. So you play 4 dragons. And then you will be like, okay, now I have 2 Dereks in the deck. And then I could take all of these 4 out to play the 2 copies of the 4 copies of this. That's also possible. But you're very flexible on these. So you could do it the way that you want to. Pretty much up to you. And this will be the card that you could add to the deck. And again, up to you to change it to the way that you want to. Alright, this is the deck profile for me. Now you will be like, D-Boy, we feel like there's lots of, you could do this and you could do that. What do you think that the best thing is? Well, to be honest, I haven't really tested this deck much. With the additional this to the deck, with the additional slicer to the deck, And the reason is that mostly I'm going forwards for V, and also V is my favorite format to play. And then comes Premium, and then kind of comes Overdress. So Overdress is the format that I play the least. Bruce still feels like Spike, which is good, but it's also not Spike. And it's kind of different. But the most important thing is that I enjoy all three formats. And I'm starting to enjoy Overdress a little bit more than Premium. But my favorite format will always be V. And you could also see that if you look at the playmats or the achievement that I have got, then you actually kind of see that in the later years, you see it up here, you see that the ones that I have had were actually for V, which is kind of nice, kind of nice. Right, guys, thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in our channel. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next video. So till next time.